day. My name is Lorena Trujillo. Next, I will go to present about the quality of the process. Your main objective is improve the product of service and the process involved. Basically, process is made up of series, inputs, activities, and outputs. In the activities, they shall have methodology, common work, roles and responsibilities, and technologies to be used. Also on steps that define the process, measure the process, control the process, improve the process. Some of the advantages are that establish an order and the optimization of the stacks and reduce times and the cost. About of models evaluation, we have the assessment of capacity and evaluation of maturity. Basically, and is focused on individual process. And evaluation of maturity is focused on all the processes. Your characteristics are in relation that an organization is mature, are that software defined, measured, controlled, and improved process. And develop software according to the requirements, comply with the time limits, achieve customer satisfaction, get the staff of the project team is integrated, the knowledge is usually key, and can measure the capacity of each process. This is a more important characteristic. Okay, about certification, one part very important in the quality of the process. Have one characteristic that are provide more information about the maturity is now especially costly and complex. But we have to space that means software process improvement and capability determination. SPICE is similar. CNNI DEB is based the standard ISO and IEC 1454 is used to certify the maturity of process, que lo vimos anteriormente, tends to be cheaper and more easier, and can be easily integrated with the other ISO standards. How annual audits are performed. Our initial audit, surveillance audit, and recertification audit. Have levels are 5. The 0, complete. 1, performing. 2, done. 3, establishing. 4, predictable. 5, optimized. Del nivel 0 al 1, estos niveles no son certificables. Del 2 al quinto sí. In the audits, the lead auditor make a final report with the result of the audit. May contain findings that the company needs to treat. Developing a corrective action plan. After the organization presents the corrective action plan. Also exists an extraordinary audit. Now we have the ISO IEC 1454 about information technology, more specifically process assessment. This big norm to be conformed by the 10 parts. In the number 1 is related to concepts and vocabulary related to the evaluation of process, about terminology. The part 2 is about performing an assessment, basically have minimum requirements to create the evaluation of process. Is based model composed of 2 dimensions. The dimension of the process and dimension of capacity. In the part 3 is on guidance on performing an assessment. It provides guidance for an evaluation using as reference the ISO IEC 1454-2 overview of the evaluation. And offers some guide the establishing the framework for the process capability measurement oriented in the selection and use of assessment tools. Basically define competences for evaluators, help in the verification, and provides an example of evaluation. In the part 4 of 2004 is some guidance on use for process improvement and process capability determination. Is similar al anterior. Provides guidance, but in this case helps to improve process and also helps to determine the capability of a process. In this we can identify the strengths, weaknesses, and risks that are associated with the process. In the part 4 of 2012, an exemplar software life cycle process assessment model. This it shows an example about how to perform an assessment according to the requirements of part 2 and establishes a series of indications for processes capability. In the part 6, it shows an exemplar system life cycle process assessment model. Is similar to part 5. Also give an example about how to perform an assessment according to the requirements. But in this case, it's used only as a process reference model standard ISO IEC 14288. In the part 7, this is related with assessment of organizational maturity, establishing minimum requirements for an assessment of the maturity and organization. In the part 8 is an example process assessment model for IT service management.